Hello everyone, welcome to the second Catalyst International Film Festival 2021. I'm Susan Liddy, founder and co-director of the festival, and you may know that Catalyst prioritises stories and storytellers from diverse backgrounds. I'm delighted we got the opportunity to screen the Irish premiere of Bandar Band, which I'm sure you enjoyed as much as we have. I'd like to introduce you now to the writer, director and producer of that film, Manijeh Hekmat. And translating for us today is Azad Jafarian. Hello Manijeh, you're very welcome to Catalyst International Film Festival. I should start by saying we really loved Bandar Band, and we send our congratulations not only to you but also to the team. As I understand it, you set out to make one film, but then the 2019 floods that ravaged the southwestern part of Iran meant that you had to change your plans. That must have been quite a challenge. I wonder, would you talk us through a little bit, you know, the difference between the film you were going to make and the film that you subsequently made?
من خیلی تشکر میکنم از اینکه فیلمو دوست داشتم و فیلمو انتخاب کردم.
I would like to thank that you liked for selecting the film, and I'm glad that you liked it.
همونطور که شما میدونین زنان ایران اجازه خوندن، آواز خواندن تو ایران ندارن.
As you know, Iranian women don't have the right to sing solo songs.
یک کافه‌های کوچولوی زیرزمینی تو تهران ایجاد شده بود که خانم‌ها از شهرستان با فامیل، همسر، پدر، مادر می اومدن تو این کافه‌های کوچولو میخوندن و همونجا یه مسابقه بینشون شکل میگرفت و انتخاب میشدن به عنوان بهترینا، ولی کاملا زیرزمینی بود.
These underground cafes started opening up in Tehran, where female singers from all across Iran would come to them and sing, and they bring with them their families and friends, and they would compete, and a best singer would be selected from among them, but it was completely underground.
بخش جذابش برای من این بود که از راه‌های بسیار دور، از شهرستان‌های بسیار دور می اومدن خودشونو میرسوندن به تهران که برن تو این کافه‌ها و آواز بخونن و صداشون شنیده بشه.
What was interesting to me was that they were coming from far away places, all the way like in remote locations across Iran, just to be present at these cafes so they can sing, so people can hear them.
وقتی که سیل اومد من این قصه رو داشتم، تحقیقامو کرده بودم، فیلمنامه اولیه رو داشتم. وقتی سیل اومد این فیلمنامه رو بردم تو قالب اون فضا و این گروه موسیقی که قصد دارم بیان تهران برن توی این کافه زیرزمینی بخونم و مطرح بشن. این دوتا رو من با هم تلفیق کردم.
When the floods came, I just had that as the setting of the film. So I took my script and set it in the floods. So I combined the two stories, the story world of two stories.
Okay. And were you at all tempted to postpone finishing the film, given those extraordinary conditions? You know, the flood damage, the absolute devastation that Bandar Band chronicles so powerfully.
نه، من وقتی تصمیم میگیرم پروژه رو شروع کنم میرم با تمام شرایط سخت. اگر فیلم های قبلی منم دیده باشین همینطوره، میرم و سعی میکنم فیلمو بسازم. وقتی اراده میکنم و تیم هم فکر خودم و هم اندیشه خودم و که دغدغه خود منو دارن و دغدغه هامون یکی میشه حرکت میکنیم و با تمام سختی ها میریم میسازیم. و برای ساخت این فیلم خیلی خطر از ما گذشت. یک جای نزدیک بود آب دست فیلم بردارمون رو ببره و نجات پیدا کردیم. خیلی شرایط سختی بود ولی من تصمیم گرفته بودم اینو بسازم و همه با هم ساختیم.
When I make a decision to make a film, I will do everything I can in my power, and I will will it, and I make it happen, despite all difficulties that may come or arise. If you've seen my previous films, those also have been made through difficult situations and circumstances. With this film, once we decided to make it, and once I had my team together, we went and we had very difficult time shooting it. We almost lost one of our assistant cameramen, almost drowned in the water, but we were able to save him. But at the end of the day, we were able to shoot the film the way I liked it.
You have a background in documentary filmmaking, I believe, and you know, I do think that that influences emerges in the film. you know, those wonderful observational moments, you know, the old woman crying, for instance, or the exuberance of the people dancing and stamping around in the water, wonderful moments. Do you think that your documentary sensibility is reflected in the film? Is it part, in other words, of your personal style?
من خب اینو فیلم سازی رو دوست دارم، اینو ناتورالیسم رو تو تصویرام دوست دارم. اگر فیلم‌های قبلی منو ببینین، زندان زنان، هیچ کس باورش نمیشد که اینا بازیگرن و زندانی نیستن، یا فیلم‌های دیگه منو خب مستند میاد و یک بخشی به خاطر اون نگاه واقع‌گرانه و باورپذیری که از محیطم و اطرافم میگیرم میاد غالب میشه و من دوست دارم این تلفیق این درام و این نگاه ناتورالیستی دوست دارم. اصلا یه جور سبک فیلمسازی منه. حتی فیلم جدید من 19 اونم همینه، یا فیلم بعدی من. و از اولین فیلم ها این توش مستطره وجود داره و این باورپذیری رو میبره بالا. بین مستند و درام یک تناسب برقرار میشه که راحت تماشاچی میتونه بپذیره همه چیزو.
I try to translate that.
زیاد گفتم، بگو هرچه کم بردود بگم.
She says, I'm a big fan of naturalism in cinema. I like films that feel natural, feel like a documentary. And if you watch my previous films, like Woman's Prison, a lot of people couldn't tell that the people in the film were actors and not prisoners. So I try to always combine the naturalism that comes with documentary films with the drama, with like plot-driven feature films that I do. I did it for this film. I'm doing it. I did it for my current film that I just finished, and I'll do it for my next film that I'll be shooting in a couple of months. I'm always a fan of like increasing believability, and I think the one way that I try to do that is by combining these two ways of directing or making film.
Okay. You're concerned in Bandar Band with the restrictions bearing down on young people, preventing them from spreading their wings, if you like, and chasing their dreams. Are the restrictions on young women more severe, do you think, or just different? For instance, we know that Mala couldn't sing on her own in the singing competition. So do other issues remain for women in modern day Iran?
من فکر میکنم که همین که یک زن نمیتونه بخونه خودش محدودیت نسبت به آقایون. هر شب محدودیت توی ایران هم برای زناست، هم برای مرداست، هم برای کل جوانای ما مشکلات داریم و همونطور که تو فیلم میبینین مدام اینا تلاش میکنن با امیدواری که راههایی رو باز کنن. حالا چقدر بتونن این راه ها رو باز کنن که عبور کنن از این مشکلات، یک دورانی رو داره میطلبه.
Obviously, restrictions exist for all young people, regardless of their gender, whether they're boys or girls. But the restriction to not be able to sing is big enough, in my opinion, and that's why it's so prominently present in this film. And as we can see in the film, it's about them overcoming the obstacles literally on the road and also on the road of life to overcome. And that's something that I wanted to focus on.
به هر حال قوانین ما طوری نوشته شده که هیچ همخوانی با حضور زنان در ایران نداره.
Our laws are written in such a way that it's not so very welcoming of presence of women in Iran.
ولی خب با تمام این دایره‌ای که دور زنان ایرانی کشیده شده، ولی همیشه پاشون از اون دایره که فراتر میذارن و حرکت میکنن و هزینه‌ش هم میدن.
But despite the boundaries that are drawn around women, they always cross the lines and they do what they set their minds to, and sometimes they pay the price for it too.
I know that many women filmmakers emerged in Iran after the late 80s or thereabouts. But I'm wondering if the calls that we hear internationally, calls for gender equality, diversity and inclusion in front of and behind the camera. Are these in evidence in Iran today also?
اگر بحث زنان کارگردان ما داریم، ما این برابری رو داریم. زنی که اراده کنه فیلم بسازه میتونه فیلم بسازه. توی ایران ما یک مشکلی که داریم اندیشه است، تفکره. اینه که فرق قائل برای فیلم سازی. به هر حال من فکر میکنم که لازم فیلم سازی من زن با کارگردان مرد کاملا برابر میتونیم کارامونو بکنیم، ولی وقتی بحث اندیشه میشه اونجاست که تفاوت ایجاد میشه. به هر حال جنبش میتو هم تو ایران مطرح شده، همونطور هم کلی زنان پیشرو ما هستن، نهادهای مدنی هستن که این کار دارن میکنن. تو بحث کارگردانی فرق بین زن و مرد نیست. این فرق به علت سینما ایدئولوژیکی که وجود داره بین تفکر و اندیشه است و زن و مرد جنسیت نداره.
As far as women directors go, there is some sort of equality when it comes to that field of working. I personally don't see a difference between men and women directing, and in that sense, we're equal. If a woman who wants to make a film can make a film, all she has to do is to will it. What the difference is in the thought process or the thoughts and the thinking behind the stories being told. That's where the difference is.
و به هر حال جنبش میتو تو ایران هم خیلی مطرح شده. خود من مطرح کردم با فیلم قبلی و سیاه پوشیدیم تو فستیوال و نهادهای مدنی و به هر حال حرکت زنان ما اینقدر رو به جلوست که فکر میکنم ایرانی‌ها به غیر جدا از قانون دارن حرکت میکنن.
As far as the international movements, whether they're heard in Iran or not, like the Me Too movement is very much has arrived in Iran, and she's been a big advocate for it, and she wore all black to a film festival in support of the Me Too movement and hearing the voices of the victims and all that stuff. So as advocates and as women rights activists, they're always moving forward in line or in step with international movements for equality and whatnot.
Is censorship making it hard for filmmakers to tell the stories they want to tell?
بر سانسور کلمه خوبی نیست و من اصلا دوست ندارم زمانی که فیلم میسازم به سانسور فکر کنم. تکلیف خودم با خودم روشن کردم. من فیلم سازم، سانسور چی اون برای سانسور چیه و همیشه فکر کردم فیلمی رو دارم میسازم توی فضای دموکراتیک ولی یه مقطعی از تاریخ و همه خیلی راحت من فیلم هم میسازم اونام سانسور میکنن و از این لحاظ به یک آرامش درونی میرسم که فیلم خودم رو بسازم بدون این باید و نباید ها. اونم وظیفه‌ش اینه که منو سانسور کنه. به هر حال من این بره میزم اونا اون بره میزم. من فیلم خودم میسازم.
Censorship is an ugly word, and I try not to think about it that much, and I won't let it limit me. I'm a director, and I tell the stories I want to make, and I sit on this side of the table as a filmmaker. Across from me is the censor, whose job it is to censor my film. I won't let him dictate what I will or will not make. I've come at ease with this process, and I've tried to just tell the stories I want to tell, and then if it comes down to being censored, then that's their job to do it. It's not my job.
How has COVID impacted on the film industry in Iran?
آره خب ما وقتی که اکران نداریم، وقتی با توجه به اینکه کپی رایت هم نیست، اگر دنیای مجاز بریم فوری قاچاق میشه خب عرضه نداره، ولی توی ساخت فیلم تاثیر نداشته. ما امسال 100 خورده فیلم ساختیم. خود من یه فیلم ساختم با کرونا توی دوران کرونا به نام 19 که احتمالا اون دفعه گفتی. 100 خورده فیلم امسال ساخته شد. تو فیلم سازی ما اثر نذاشته ولی توی پخش ما وحشتناک اثر گذاشته و همه چی تعطیله.
The effects are limited in terms of the amount of productions being done. There is still productions. About 100 films have been made this year. I myself made a film this year, which I told you about earlier, called 19, which is very much related to COVID-19. But in terms of distribution, it's been a disaster because theaters are closed and there's no distribution, and we also don't have copyrights for our films. So it's all just like bootleg copies being shown everywhere with no one ever getting paid for the films.
Can you tell us what projects you're working on now? I understand that you're about to start a new film. Could you tell us a little more about that?
من این فیلمم تموم شد، آماده عرضه است و دست پخش کننده است 19 و جدیداً هم یک فیلم دارم با محوریت محیط زیست که قرار حدود 20 روز دیگه شوتینگ رو شروع کنم.
I just finished my film, the 19. It's ready for being screened and distributed. And in 20 days, I'm going to shoot my next film, and it's about global warming and environment and all that stuff.
Thank you, Manijeh, for joining us today. It was an absolute pleasure. And thank you, Azad. And interestingly for our audience, I understand that Azad, you are the son of renowned Iranian cinematographer Hussein Jafarian. So we're very grateful to you for translating for us today. And Manijeh, I would again like to say that we were really delighted to screen Bandar Band and very proud that it is the Irish premiere. Indeed, Catalyst looks forward to screening more of your work in the future. We wish you well, you and the team, and good luck with all your projects. Thank you very much for joining us. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.